In a small village school, there was a boy named Rafi, who always sat in the last row of his class. He was quiet, shy, and terribly afraid to speak English. Every time his teacher asked a question in English, Rafi would quickly look down at his notebook, hoping not to be noticed. But one day, something happened that would change his life forever. Rafi studied in a small school in Bangladesh. He loved the English language and enjoyed reading it, but he just couldn't bring himself to speak it. He understood the words, but forming them into sentences and speaking them out loud felt like an impossible task. His friends would often laugh whenever he tried and made a mistake, which only made him feel worse. One day, his teacher made an exciting announcement. "Next week," she said with a bright smile, "we will have an English-speaking competition." The whole class buzzed with excitement. But for Rafi, the news felt like a heavy weight on his chest. His heart started beating fast. He whispered to himself, "I can't do this. I'll forget everything." He felt a familiar wave of panic wash over him. That evening, Rafi was sitting alone in the garden, looking very sad, when his grandfather came to join him. His grandfather was a retired English teacher, a wise and kind man. Seeing the gloomy look on Rafi's face, he asked gently, "What's wrong, my boy?" Rafi looked up, his eyes filled with worry. "I can't speak English, Dadu," he confessed. "The competition is next week, and everyone will laugh at me." His grandfather smiled a warm, knowing smile. "Do you know how I learned to speak English?" he asked. "I spoke to the mirror every single day for 10 minutes. Rafi was surprised. "Really? But I'll feel so silly talking to myself." Feeling silly is the very first step to becoming confident. "My boy," his grandfather replied, his eyes twinkling. The very next morning, Rafi stood nervously in front of a mirror in his room. It felt strange. At first, he just looked at his reflection and managed to say, "Hello, my name is Rafi." Then he couldn't help but laugh. "This feels so funny," he said out loud. But his grandfather's words echoed in his mind. Feeling silly is the first step. So he took a deep breath and kept trying. Day by day, he practiced new sentences. He would say, "I am not afraid." Then, a little louder, "I can speak English." And finally, with more conviction, "I believe in myself." With each passing day, his voice grew a little stronger, and the boy in the mirror seemed a little less scared. Finally, the day of the competition arrived. The classroom was filled with nervous energy and excitement. Students were ready for the English-speaking contest, whispering their prepared speeches to themselves. When Rafi's name was called, his hands started shaking. He walked slowly to the front of the class, his heart pounding in his chest. Everyone's eyes were on him. He took a deep, shaky breath and began. "Good morning, everyone. My name is Rafi. Today, I want to tell you one thing. Confidence is not about being perfect. Confidence is about trying again, even when you fail." As he spoke those words, the classroom, which had been buzzing with whispers, went completely silent. As Rafi continued speaking, a strange thing happened. His fear began to melt away. He used simple English, nothing fancy, but his voice was filled with genuine emotion. He spoke from the heart. "Last week, I was afraid to speak," he continued, looking at his classmates. "But today, I learned something important. If you talk to yourself, you'll find your voice. If you believe in yourself, others will believe in you too." When he finished, there was a moment of silence, and then the entire class erupted in loud applause. His teacher smiled, her eyes filled with pride. "Rafi," she said, "that was the best speech of the day. Not because your English was perfect, but because your heart was in it." From that day on, Rafi was a changed boy. He spoke English every chance he got, no longer afraid of making mistakes. He even started helping his friends practice. He learned new words, watched English stories, and understood that true progress takes time and patience. Rafi realized that English isn't about perfect grammar first. It's about having confidence first. Your journey starts with a single word. So, if you are like Rafi, afraid to speak English, remember his story? Start small. Speak to yourself every day. Don't wait for perfection to begin, because every confident English speaker was once a silent learner who's like you. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more English learning motivation. See you in the next video.